Yeah, I can scroll down. Anyway, so, I mean, I think the point about Osmodern is that they make, as I say, in the UK, I'm sorry that the screen resolution isn't quite what I'd like. But in the UK, as I say, they're getting 60 million views a month to the products they make. Their clients include all the major broadcasters, the terrestrial broadcasters, except the BBC. They do ITV's video on demand player. They do Channel 4's 4OD player. They do Channel 5. They're also working with Virgin Media, and I think the Virgin Media story is probably one of the more interesting ones. Virgin is now the only cable provider in the UK, and they were formed by a partnership of two previous cable companies. And what they found was that in these companies had different platforms, they had different designs. And they found that Virgin were actually, for example, as a result of that, Virgin on their video-on-demand system on the laptop or the desktop was using Google search. Their mobile offering was offering Yahoo search. So there was no consistency between the three screens. So what Osmodern's approach is to very much take a user-centered design approach to understand the strategy of their client, and to develop products that fit both the brand and the users of that brand. So they've done a lot of work with, one of their core clients is Channel 4. They now own if you like, they're responsible for all the design issues around Channel 4 in the UK's television, online, and mobile solutions, where a lot of the work they've done recently has been looking at taking the user experience of the on-demand platform on the laptop or the desktop PC, and beginning to translate that now to on-demand services on the large screen for the 10-foot experience. Whether that's coming through, increasingly people are watching video on demand on their televisions through games consoles, so they've been designing for that. They're also looking increasingly at the design of apps for television, interactive television services, for video on demand services. And again, with Virgin, they've been working with Virgin have licensed the TiVo technology in the UK. So they've been looking at the TiVo user interface. TiVo being originally a PVR, which allowed you to state preferences, and it would then suggest shows to you based on those preferences. Having done that experience, they're currently working with a Russian content aggregator on effectively trying to. One of the things they're very interested in is, in a video-on-demand world, how do you recreate the experience of the good experiences that people have of scheduled broadcast television? So, for example, now with this Russian client, they're taking their experiences of understanding how to understand people's preferences. And although everything this Russian aggregator is doing is an on-demand service, they're actually offering a scheduled experience. So they will suggest shows that you might want to watch at particular times of day, depending on the metadata around the show, about when the show was originally broadcast, and also the preferences, what it's learnt about your preferences. What else have you tended to watch at that time of day? What are the shows you like? And it will suggest a schedule to you. So I wanted to mention them. I'm sorry that I've got a much fuller presentation which talks about their process. They've got a very interesting process and approach to what they do. And one of the things I think is very interesting about Osmodern is that they are essentially, what they will do is they'll work out your strategy, they'll design the wireframes, they'll do all the visual design, the interaction design, but they don't do the build. And that actually is one of their USPs in a way, because most of the people working in this space have a technology solution. So if you're wanting to develop a video-on-demand system, if you go to a company that already has a white-label product, they'll sell you their product. They'll tell you they'll do user-centered design and they'll tweak it to they'll design something specific for your requirements, but essentially they're selling you the same product. Whereas what a company like Osmodern does is, because they're not bound to any specific platform, they'll actually come up with a solution that works for your strategy, your content and your users. So if you want to find out more about them, I can talk about them offline.